Today and over the last couple of days, I've been reading about China and some of the companies in China, one in particular, coming up with a faster method of AI and much less expensive method. And that's good because you don't have to spend this much money. I view that as a positive, as an asset. So the release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that. Well, this is very unusual when you hear a DeepSeek, when you hear somebody come up with something. We always have the ideas. We're always first. So I would say that's a positive. That could be very much a positive development. So instead of spending billions and billions, you'll spend less and you'll come up with hopefully the same solution. Today and over the last couple of days, I've been reading about
Look, the whole thing that's happening with the DeepSeek Chinese competitor for ChatGPT, right? I mean, you got to be smart enough to understand this. That first of all, first thing to note, whenever something new comes up, there's a lot of chaos all over the news because see, as as um, as end consumers and as common people, our source of information is through these news platforms. So we are not directly receiving information from the source. Like, do you have any connection to anyone working in or any way connected to the company DeepSeek? No, right? Of course not. So first of all, we gotta be a little bit calm ourselves down a little bit and try to look at this like from a calm perspective to understand what it actually is. So first of all, the biggest panic that is happening is that the stock market in America has crashed, and the crash is really significant. I even saw somewhere that I was reading somewhere where it said that it is the biggest crash in U.S. history. Like I think I don't know exactly in terms of what metrics. Maybe it was like the biggest crash in terms of like the fastest crash, maybe or something. I don't know exactly, but I read somewhere that it was the biggest crash. uh, so I think most people are panicking because of the stock market crash. But you have to understand the stock market is panic. People panic whenever something happens, something big happens in the business and the economy. People panic and they start panic selling. That is how the stock market crash. So the crash is generally, sometimes, most of the time actually, the crash is actually an initial crash. That is not the real crash. Or, like people are saying the bubble has popped. This was the AI bubble. Yeah, sure. Maybe it was the AI bubble when it comes to speaking from the US perspective. If you think from, look at AI and look at technology in general, or anything in general, from the perspective of your own country, then obviously you can say that it was a bubble that popped. But this is, if you talk about AI in general, globally speaking, AI is not a bubble. Everybody knows that. AI is the future, really. I would say a few minutes ago, I was thinking myself, like, this would be like the best way to describe AI. It's basically the Pandora's box. We have opened it, like not we, but a few people, a few rich, powerful, and ambitious people. They opened the box, and well, now what are you gonna do? It's open, so everybody in the world, they're gonna have to face the consequences, whatever that might be. By the way, watch that film, Don't Look Up, where starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, just if you haven't watched that film. Uh, um, crazy reference, right? But the thing is, this uh, the DeepSeek AI, right? So it's obviously the biggest advantage DeepSeek has. It's way cheaper. That is great. It is great, not maybe for the American economy or whatever, but generally speaking, globally speaking, it's absolutely better. Now, one more thing I wanted to point out is that, which is kind of funny, I would say, the Chinese are very secretive, right? They're not open to the world. You don't really know what goes on in China. Like the claims, everything that they're claiming that it's cheaper, they have put a lot less money that, for example, the Americans have put in the development of AI. Those are all claims made by the Chinese government. Now there is no real way to verify it, because you just have to take their word for it, because China is like a separate world. China is completely secluded from the rest of the world. They're completely disconnected. Now, what I was thinking was really funny is that, um, because America and the rest of the world is so globalized and open, right, to each other, we are all connected. Now, China might be secluded from the rest of the world, but China is always watching YouTube. People, the government officials in China, they're constantly monitoring what is going on in the world 24/7. They're watching what is being uploaded on Instagram, on YouTube, and all other social media. They're constantly checking the feed. Their eyes are always on the internet, like the regular internet for the rest of us, YouTube and such. Um, so this chaos that is caused, and every other chaos that gets caused, the Chinese government gets such an advantage. Like they can see basically like the kind of like if they do something, the kind of impact that is causing on the rest of the world. They have such open like vision. They can There's nothing secret anymore, because the world has so much media now. They know everything, so it's kind of funny. uh I don't know what else is it, but at least it's funny. Maybe I'm not sure if it's funny or not, but anyways, for the while, at least it's funny. Don't know about the future. uh but yeah, so that's one thing like I wanted to point out. And it's not just this particular instance of this DeepSeek operation, like the DeepSeek AI fiasco or whatever, the thing that's going on. It's everything, and it's not just China. Like, how people say, like, I was once watching a Joe Rogan podcast, and in between the podcast, I think it was the guest in that episode was was a person from like an ex like a retired military personnel. And this man, while the podcast was being recorded, they suddenly get a news that the Russians are listening to this podcast, and they had to shut that down. But it's so weird, because why I thought in that moment, like, why is it such a news that the Russians are listening? Of course they are. They can listen all the time. They can use any kind of, like, if let's just imagine, if as a basic human being, as a like a common human being on this planet, if I have access to something like NordVPN or the Tor browser, where I can easily just get into a private connection, and I can unblock any website that is blocked in my country. What is it for the Russian government or the Chinese government? Like, they of course they're listening. They're listening to everything. So why is that such a why do they, maybe that's because how they get views on media, any kind of media. They have to make it sensational and like shocking. Like, that's how you get views, right? On media, any kind of media. So, yeah, I mean, see, the whole entire deep seek, like when I woke up today, and I was on the internet, and the first thing I saw is that the US stock market has crashed, and there's this deep seek. My entire YouTube feed is filled with deep seek, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? So as soon as I started watching the news, it's like there's this new AI app and an AI service, a platform that is that is the like Chinese AI platform, and it is a competition to ChatGPT and other language learning models in the that is based in the US. So I'm like, yeah, big deal. So what? So maybe because I think the panic and the entire news and everything that happened is because of the stock market crash. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense when I look at it that way. But initially, I thought, like, why are people so surprised? I mean, weren't they expecting, I mean, what were they expecting? I mean, especially the Americans. Were American people expecting, or at least, I cannot speak of the American people. I think, like Sam Altman, for example, or the owners of these tech companies like Google and ChatGPT. I mean, were they expecting like China to not do any development? I mean, what is going on? Of course, China would be doing some kind of a development in AI, right? I mean, China is the biggest competition to US, right? So and China is kind of like a gatekeeper from US to becoming a world dominating power, which it already is. But China still keeps acts as a gatekeeper for USA to dominate over the entire world. So I mean, it's obvious. It's like maybe it's just newsworthy or something. I don't know, but I just think the whole thing is overblown and maybe it's just temporary. But as for us end consumers, see, as far as end consumers and common people, AI anyways is bad. But because like I said, it's really the Pandora's box and it's open. So there's nothing that we can really do about it, and except for like to, and it's not just AI. These in today's world, these large tech companies, we gotta just accept. I mean, I'm not saying we should accept, but like they're so powerful. I mean, really, if you are honest about it, is there anything we can do? Maybe we can. Uh, if things get really worse, of course, we will stand up and we will act as and do our part as a revolutionary or something like to stop them. But my point is that they're really powerful, and the world has changed in a way that, like, how they say, like in America, right? The oligarchy, dangerous oligarchy and all they call. But which is true. It's true. I mean, I cannot really deny. I mean, of course, there's this oligarchy and extremism when it comes to money and power, right? I mean, the world is so polarized in every way, and especially when it comes to power, politics, money, that kind of stuff. The ultra rich are even more ultra rich and ultra powerful. It's like the word rich doesn't matter. It's more about power these days, how the rich and entrepreneurs are becoming more political because everything is like they're so powerful. These tech company, the owners of these tech companies, they're extremely powerful. They at this point they're like if I'm a human, then the Mark Zuckerberg is at this point, he's kind of like I don't mean to praise him, but I'm just saying like it is. He's kind of like a god, really. I mean, if you are Elon Musk. I mean, look at what Elon Musk is doing. Why do you think Elon Musk, where do you think Elon Musk is getting all that confidence from for acting that way? I mean, because he's so powerful. He's just untouchable. Nobody can touch him at this point. He's just so powerful. So and of course people like Donald Trump, but especially, I mean, in today's world, actually the owners of tech companies are even more powerful. In some ways they are even more powerful and even more influential than the politicians, because the politicians have power in the traditional sense of the word power. But people like Elon Musk and such, they have, like, you can say, kind of like the real power in today's world. So yeah, I just wanted to give my perspective and add my perspective into the mix of the whole thing that's going on. And we gotta watch. This is the beginning of a new, something new when it comes to this AI, and a lot is going to change, by the way, and it's going to change really fast. A lot is going to change really fast. You just wait and watch. It's just January, right? By the end of this year, you're going to see so much change when it comes to um, technological advancements, because after AI became mainstream, AI was under development, but the moment it became mainstream, a lot of things just uh, already happened. I mean, sometimes I like to think of it in terms like AI has already changed, and in some ways, like, don't get me wrong when I say AI has already destroyed the world. Destroyed in the sense, I don't mean any kind of apocalypse or something. I just mean this. I just mean when I use the word destroyed, I just mean it has changed the world, completely transformed the world that we knew. It's just that we have to just wait and see it unfold. It has already changed. Our world has already drastically changed after COVID and after AI, like after AI becoming mainstream. Our world has completely changed. It's just that we are slowly able to understand and see those changes being implemented. The world has changed. Don't be foolish. Like, don't think like we're gonna get, like, I sometimes and I completely understand people sob on the social media. Read the comments. People miss a lot of people miss the old days, the days before COVID-19 happened. I read all these comments where people say like life was so much better before COVID-19. Of course it was. In many ways it was. But it's just that this is the nature of life. Life keeps on changing. And the world, and it has happened many times before in history. If you just broaden your perspectives and your horizons, you'll be able to understand that change is the way of life. And in today's world, we are standing at that pedestal of change. I don't know if my usage of English is right here, but I'm sure you understand what I mean. Like, change is always happening, but right now change is going to be massive, so massive that you're going to have to not just have to, you will eventually forget what life was before social media and before the internet. And it's, I would say, from my perspective, it's neither good neither bad. You just have to be stoic about it. Just have to be neutral about it. Don't even like, not even, maybe stoic is a strong word, especially in today's sigma and alpha male era. We should be careful about what kind of words we use in our speech. But yeah, we got to be just neutral about it because there's nothing really we can do about it. These changes are just gonna happen, and AI very soon, and I believe in the next 5 years we will be working with actual, like, physical robots that we used to see in movies, like, I don't know, I don't remember the name, like the Will Smith movies, like there was a robot movie, right, that Will Smith made, whose robot face looks like the Optimus that Tesla recently launched, the Optimus robot. So my point is that big changes are coming, and if you're smart, you would just accept it because there's nothing really you can do. The more you resist change, the more you will be suffering in your own whatever psychological self, because all suffering is psychological. So yeah, I mean, we just have to wait and watch how this entire DeepSeek story unfolds. And yeah, thank you for watching.